Big welcome everyone to our free live class, and pink is going to be the new red this year. So we're thinking Valentine's Day. Obviously it's coming up to Valentine's Day very soon, and as you can see we're feeling very love and very romantic here at Case Flower School. So we'd love to know who's watching, where are you watching in from, and what's the weather like in your part of the world. Here in Dublin, it's absolutely bitter cold out today, but I have to say this cardigan is nice and cozy and warm. And there's probably loads of you, because I think I loved it anyway, loads of you are probably going to be asking, where did I buy it? Dunnes Stores. It's in the Savita range and it wasn't expensive at all. And I'm not on commission from Dunnes Stores for that. So today it's all going to be about sustainability, making bunches of flowers for the likes of Valentine's Day, but sure, listen, soon enough we'll have Mother's Day coming around, making bunches of flowers, but just making them that little bit different and that little bit fancier, okay? But yet not making them too expensive. So what are the materials you're going to need? I'm going to use this brown paper, and the brown paper I have has a kind of a print of a pink rose on it. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, hopefully you can. And most of the wholesalers sell this, which you can definitely buy it from the likes of Evergreen Silk Plants in Ardee, County Louth, wholesaleflowers.ie, which are in Sandyford in Dublin, and also O'Neill's Flowers up in Carlingford, County Louth. And then three wholesalers that I've just mentioned all have websites, and you can buy the materials direct from them on their website. If there is anybody watching, Celine or who else is watching there?
Noreen,
any of you that are watching there, do us a favour and can you tag, put the @ wholesaleflowers.ie, tag O'Neillsflowers.ie as well, and tag Evergreen Silk Plants, okay, for us, do us a big favour. The other thing you're going to need is some tissue paper, and again you can purchase that from all the wholesalers that I've just mentioned. So this is how you purchase the tissue paper, and it obviously comes in lots of different colours. Now, as I said, pink is the new red this year, so we're kind of going for pink. But I am going to cover it in one of our other live classes. I will cover doing it in red as well, just for any of you that are more traditional and would like it done in red. And again, if there's anybody watching there and you'd like us to demonstrate something, you know, that as part of our live class, comment below. Not promising that we'll always be able to help you, but we will do the best that we can. You have to remember that our live classes, obviously we're restricted for time, otherwise you'd be sitting there for a few hours listening to me. And we have to keep things pretty fast and keep the kind of the momentum kind of like moving. But also, when I'm doing a live class, I'm also advertising our classes that we do here at the school. Now, when you're a student of Case Flower School and you're enrolled as one of our professional students on the professional commercial online program, we supply all the materials that you will need. But also, all our videos are much slower, an awful lot more detail, and you'll see everything step by step. And obviously as we're doing them as a pre-recorded tutorial, Deirdre is able to zoom in and zoom out. But when I'm doing a live class, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook all at the same time. So we've 4 or 5 different cameras going here today, so it's impossible for her to move, so you don't see the thing in detail. But just in case anybody feels, oh my God, is all the online classes like that? Absolutely not. Like any of our past students that are watching, they will be able to tell you where you can stop and you can rewind and you can rewatch our tutorials as often as you wish. But again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me there in the comments and I'll get back to you, even if it's later on this evening. So what I have is a rectangle piece of brown paper, and obviously when you're on our course you'll see all the measurements and the detail exactly, and I'm just sellotaping it into a kind of a triangle peak effect, you see, like that there. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the tissue paper, and using 2 layers at the same time you can see I've created a similar effect. And the idea is that I want one to kind of like overlap on top of the other. The tissue paper obviously going to be smaller. So I'm just going to place that all over to one side. Now, as I said, if you're a student on our Module 2 online program, which is starting on the 15th of February, we have just added a brand new program to it, like another section, another chapter if you want to call it, and it's all about doing presentation, inexpensive, cheaper bouquets or cheaper bunches of flowers, not necessarily hand ties. We have hand ties already covered in another chapter, but this is something that a lot of our students were asking us about, so we decided to do it as a whole new range of classes, all step by step. But I just wanted to give yourselves a little bit of a taster, you know, that way, of what we're constantly adding to our new programs. But obviously, as part of the commercial program, you will see exactly the measurements, you know, that way, and how exactly I'm getting that technique. Now, when I'm cutting up the brown paper and the tissue paper, I always have lots of leftovers, remnants, kind of like pieces of brown paper, offcuts and so on. So what I'm just kind of doing here is just kind of folding all these pieces kind of irregular. You can see there, because the print is only on one side, when I fold it, you can see it's bringing up the brown paper on the inside, which is actually going to be quite nice. And also the same with the tissue paper, and I have it again in double layers. I just have, like, again, a folded kind of irregular into kind of like triangle kind of peak sort of effects. To be honest, I won't need all of these pieces. I just have a couple of extra ones done. So if anybody was in a flower shop, the idea is that you'd have all this kind of like prepared in advance, coming up to the likes of Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. So then you decide what sort of flowers are you going to use. Now remember, if you want to make profit, and that's something that we emphasize quite a lot when you're on our commercial programs, is pricing for profit, okay? First of all, you need to know, what is all the materials costing you? Where can you source them? I know we mentioned a few wholesalers there already, and they're wholesalers that will sell to the public. But there is wholesalers that don't sell to the public, or for students that maybe want to source their flowers abroad, like direct from Holland, and maybe bring them in that little bit cheaper. So we go through on our courses, like setting up accounts with all of the wholesalers, about the VAT registration, about the tax registration, about importing the flowers, the minimum quantities of flowers you can buy, the minimum quantities that you can spend, about the transport costs, how you can avoid transport costs. This is all covered as part of your program. How to treat and condition the flowers. And again, if there was anybody watching, like, I'm presuming at this stage you have all signed up to our free conditioning program on the treatment of flowers and foliage. If you haven't, well, why not? It's free, so you might as well. So if you go to our website, so hopefully somebody there might tag the website for me. It's www.kaysflowerschool.com. So if you go to our website and then scroll down till you find the blog button. As far as I know, it's down the very end of the page, okay? And when you click into the blog button, scroll down till you find the link for conditioning or treatment of flowers. And if you just sign up there, you can use an email address and your password, you'll be able to access over 60 different tutorials. And again, we're constantly adding to that all the time. So if you're already joined up to it, pop back in again and go down to the end, because there's loads of new ones just after being added there recently. So you will have access to that. There's an index at the beginning, and you can see like all the different flowers and foliages that we cover, step-by-step treatment of them. Now, what am I going to use today? I have 6 pink roses. I have them cleaned down already. I used my stem stripper. I have most of the guard petals, I just see 1 or 2 there, most of the guard petals removed. That's personal choice. I have 2 stems of ruscus, which if you're watching there, you see I cut them in half and I cleaned to the end of them. I have 2 stems of wax flower. 1 is big and 1 is kind of pretty small. And I have a little bit of bear grass. So like that's what I'm using as my stem count, for this arrangement. I'm also going to be using a piece of hand-tied twine, and I already have my string just taped to the counter here so that I can find it afterwards. So now I'm ready to make up our bunch. Now this is not a hand-tied class, this is not a hand-tied bunch, this is just a very casual bunch of flowers that'll be easy enough for any of you watching there to copy at home yourself. So I'm just starting off with a layer of foliage, with maybe a little layer of wax flower and a little layer of bear grass. And as if you've watched some of our tutorials recently where we are covering a lot kind of about Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, you'll see that I often describe this as making a sandwich. So every time you put something on your sandwich, that way, whether you'd like a layer of onion and a layer of tomato sauce and a layer of cheese, and a layer of ham, and a layer of mayonnaise, a layer of cucumber. What else would you like in your sandwich?
Tomatoes.
A layer of tomatoes. Do you get the idea? Pickles if you wanted. You're kind of like layering the material all the time, okay? So our main ingredient in our sandwich today is pink roses, which could be, it's a ham sandwich, you know, that way, with a little bit of onion and a little bit of pickle. Do you get the idea? You know, that way. So we're kind of like layering the material as we go along. But as I said, it's a ham sandwich, you know what I mean? So we need to make sure that we get lots of ham kind of on the sandwich. And again, we could probably do with another layer of mayonnaise, pickles, onions, cucumber and tomato and so on. And again, it's a ham sandwich, so bring in another little bit of ham and a few more little bits of onion or whatever you want to use. Like some of you will be cracking up and saying, what in the name of God is she talking about? But this is what it's all about. It's just kind of keeping it kind of simple and easy for yourself. And I want another bit of ham up there, and I want another bit of onion up there, and I think I'll put my last slice of ham kind of down here, keeping the flowers kind of like up close together, or the ham, or whatever way you want to describe it. So do you see how easy and how casual that was? Picking up our little bits there, and again, when I have it laid on the table, I can fix it around another little bit, but I'm happy enough with what I have done there so far. So as I said, casual, don't overthink it, keep it nice and simple. Now bring your 2 layers of fabrics together, as in your brown paper and your tissue paper, and again, I shown at the beginning where I folded them into them triangle points. And again, in case you're saying, God, I'd love to see that again. Are you a past student of Case Flower School? Have you completed all your online programs, as in Module 1, 2, 3 and 4? If you have, you've already graduated into the Bloom Studio. So Bloom Studio is our free mentoring group for all our past students, all our online past students. And this is where you will all get access to all these new programs completely free. So the Bloom Studio is free, and the access to all these newer programs are all completely free as well. So make sure that you pop into your Bloom Studio and see what's happening. Are you a student coming up to Module 2 that's starting on the 15th of February, which is obviously the day after Valentine's Day? And you might be thinking to yourself, because I've already completed Module 1, I'm coming up and I'm signed up for Module 2, but I'd love to know how to make them bunches of flowers in detail. Well listen, we have a special favour for you. We've organised that once you're booked and paid onto your Module 2, even though it's not starting till the 15th of February, you have early access to this section of your programme. So you will be able to tune in advance, way before your course starts. Even though the Bloom Room is not open, nothing else is happening, the WhatsApp is not open, but you have access, if you want, to this section of the programme. Like, talk about facilitating and looking after our customers here at Case Flower School. And again, if we have past students that have covered Module 1 and Module 2, but haven't yet graduated into the Bloom Studio, or maybe you're not planning on doing the rest of your training, you will be able to purchase this section of your programme at a discounted price. All you have to do is drop us an email, info@caseflowerschool.com. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rest my flowers onto my tissue paper and brown paper, maybe a little bit of like fixing around here, just making sure that we can see all our flowers. And by the way, there is a way of displaying them on the table, you know, rather than displaying them in your hand. But I just kind of felt for the video, you would see it better by me doing it in my hand. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my layer of brown paper on this side, kind of like wrapped around my bunch, and I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So kind of like bring them around, one overlapping the other. Don't bring it too tight, don't squeeze them in too tight, okay? And if anybody there has a little sticker, you know, the name of your flower shop, Flower Pop, Flowery Boutique, who else, Vicky's Floral Design, all our students out there, just put your little sticker on there if you prefer. Now what I want you to do then is get your 2 hands, one on the right and one on the left, okay? And I want you to gather both hands in at the same time. So it's kind of like gather, 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 squash the hell out of it, okay? Take it up in your hand, and then you can have a little bit of boostering and fixing around, you see, just to display them. And again, if you feel that you need to move the flowers a little bit, just so to make sure that you can see everything. Squeeze that in nice and tight there in your hand. If you had a little sticker on, that would hold that a bit more even, or you could use your sellotape dispenser to hold it, okay? So it's a little bit up there, but I won't be fussy about it. So now I'm going to gather up my tissue paper and brown paper. So just with these folded up tissue papers, I'm just going to take them individually. I've only got one hand, by the way. And just here on the table, I'm going to fold it over, I'm going to fold it back, I'm going to kind of crease it another bit folded, and I'm just going to catch it into my hand. Now that's how casual that is, right? Like a rolled up piece of tissue paper or toilet roll paper. So then you get your brown paper, fold it over, fold it back, and catch it into your hand. Get another piece of tissue paper, fold it over, fold it back, fold the other one back if you want it, and catch it into your hand. And I'm doing this instead of a bow. Brown paper, fold it over, fold it back, and again catch it into your hand. And you can make that as full and as fussy as you want. It's completely up to yourself. You can go out as wide as you want, you can go as narrow as you want, you can really do whatever you want yourself. Like, it's not something that I would spend ages like thinking about or overthinking too much. So you can see the way I'm just adding in all these layers, and this is, as I said, it's instead of a bow. If anybody has any questions at all, put it in the comments, because normally what I do in the evening time is I log back in and I normally go along everybody's questions and I try and answer it as much as I can. But if you're thinking of booking onto the Module 2 and you're wondering is that course suitable for yourself, why don't you give me a ring? Now don't ring me now, wait till this class is over, okay? Give me a ring at 01 for Dublin 4538649, and we can have a chat and we can see then what course suits you best. Or also, like we would have, I'm going to need something else over here. You can contact me by email. So drop me an email, info@caseflowerschool.com, and again, I'll respond to you. So you can see the way I've just kind of like added that at the bottom. That's just instead of a bow. And the thing is, it was all these offcuts of tissue paper that I was probably going to throw into the magic bin anyway. Last part, now remember, everything here has been held in my hand. Now my hands are fairly strong, you wouldn't want to get a box off me. So now I'm going to get my hand tie string, which I already have prepared. We cover all this on our hand tie bouquet course as part of Module 2. It's a little technique of making the string rather than using a straight piece of string. Now the only thing is you do need your own teeth for the next stage, because you're going to bring it around and you're going to catch it in your teeth. You're going to put your fingers through your loop. You're going to catch your long string and you're going to pull it. And now what I'm doing is I'm catching everything in there. I'm now going to wrap it around, just make sure I don't lose my short string. I'm now going to wrap it around 2 or 3 times, making sure not to flatten down my fancy tissue papers, okay? Wrap them around 2 or 3 times, lie it down on the table, and then I'm going to tie the 2 pieces of twine together. Double knot, nothing fancy. Tie a little knot, tie another knot, one on top of the other, and then going to get my scissors and cut off the little tie strings, like the bit that's left over. So you can see the way it's all cut in there. Now if you want to put a bow on there, you can. Will you just pass me the stapler there, Deirdre? Because I think I'm just going to put a staple in this one, just to hold it. Normally it sits in for me, but for this one it's moving down a little bit. Hold up. There we go. There. Just sorts out that problem. I'm now going to just trim the ends, not too short, nothing fancy. Again, it's not hand tied bouquet, you know, you're just kind of trimming it off. And there is your inexpensive way of wrapping up 6 roses. Didn't take an awful lot of material, bit of bear grass, 2 stems of ruscus and 2 stems of wax flower. And again, it makes a nice bunch of flowers to present to somebody. It's also very sustainability, as in the whole lot can be thrown in the compost bin. Tissue paper, brown paper, and obviously the foliages, etc. And that's why I just kept it the hand tied twine. I didn't use any ribbon or that. And the sellotape that I've used for making my peaks was a compostable sellotape to start off with already. Don't know about that staple now that I've just thrown in. No. Hopefully that'll fall down to the very end of the compost bin and it'll fall out. You know the little holes at the end, and nobody will see it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that class. I'd love to get a bit of feedback. Again, we do really appreciate if you click share on these videos, but also for yourself, if you want to be able to look back at this again, click share, it'll be on your page, and then you can always refer back to it again at a later stage. Obviously watch it or rewind it or stop it. Or again, anybody that's a member of a flower club or a flower arranging club or a gardening club, we'd really appreciate if you share the video into your club for us on their Facebook page. Or again, anybody that knows somebody that's part of a club or loves flower arranging, why don't you tag them underneath there and let them know that we're live, and again they can watch this class. So again, huge thanks for everybody for joining us today. If you're interested in joining up with our Module 2, which is starting on the 15th of February, there is a SkillNet grant, and I think it's worth €250. So that means that you'll get it at a huge discounted price. And remember, the price includes all of the flowers, all of the materials, all of the foliage. The only thing that you need to buy when you do one of our professional courses is 10 plastic buckets. And they're the buckets for storing the flowers in. And on day 1, in your bloom room, we give you access to the wholesalers where you can purchase your buckets wholesale and you have them forever. But listen, in the meantime, check out the likes of Lidl and Aldi. They always have lots of free buckets which to give away. All you have to tell them is you remember the Case Flower School. Isn't that right, Deirdre?
That's it.
Tell them you remember Case Flower School. Tell them Janette said that you can go into Lidl or Aldi, buy your cheese, your bottle of wine and whatever else you're buying, and they'll give you a couple of free buckets. Again, I'm only joking there, by the way. Happy week, happy Valentine's Day, happy Mother's Day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. See you then, bye bye, thanks for joining in.